one more question, actually. Yeah, I've said it would be my last question, but one more question, because there were some surprises in the name of the seconds, especially of Gukesh. We don't know much about the seconds of Ding, but we've had Duda, which was somewhat of a surprise. Obviously, it seems to have been a Polish cluster being built around Gukesh. That's obviously that's due to Gajewski being his head coach. But you also had Klimkowski, I think that's his name, who is an international master, very young, very promising. But he wasn't the biggest surprise. For me, the biggest surprise was Vincent Keimer. I did not see that coming, especially because I see them as potential rivals for a very long time to come. Were you surprised by any of the names, and how do you think those connections were made and those connections generally worked?
No, I mean, I wasn't surprised. Like, I didn't expect it, but no name would be a surprise to me unless it was someone who wasn't in chess. But that he worked with like very, very strong chess players, it's hard for it to be a surprise. I mean, if we're talking about Duda, then it's not too hard to understand how that occurred because he's worked with Gajewski for a long time, and that connection happened very naturally because Gajewski was for many, many years one of the main seconds of Vishy Anand, and Vishy Anand and Gukesh have had some connection as well in terms of Vishy has his chess program. I don't know exactly the details, but obviously he's been somewhat connected to the development of the young Indian players. So that Gajewski started work with Gukesh happened maybe, I don't know, maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know exactly, but
It was
that's
pretty
not a
organic,
surprise.
right?
Yeah, and then that Gajewski has close connections with some of the Polish players is also not strange. I mean, it's just normal. And I don't know much about Klimkowski. He's a young grandmaster. That's about all I know about him. But it's not too strange to take on one of the young guys because they're very motivated. In terms of Keimer, again, maybe they're just friends. Now, in the past when I was younger, I've been asked to work with a number of players, and I've always kind of waited internally, like, do I want to work for someone else? And I don't think there's a good or bad decision on that. I've always said no, because that's my personal preference. I don't want to work for someone who I feel like will be a very close competitor. The only exception was I've worked with Levon, but never in a very official capacity. Just we've worked like, kind of as friends and like sparring partners and so on. But like a long time ago, when I was not a top player, I was asked to work for Vesselin, for example. This must have been like 2009. And then in 2013, I was invited to work with Magnus, but it was just like a one-time thing. It wasn't really like working with him. I think it was just be training games or blitz games or something like that. And then when Sergei Karyakin qualified for the match, I was also invited to train with him. Probably not as like an analyst, but like sparring partner. And I always felt a little bit weird about it. But perhaps for Vincent, it's just very natural that he has no issue with training with someone and then also competing with them after. That's a personal thing.
Do
For
you
him, maybe it's
do you
maybe
feel
it's not a
he
vision.
maybe takes some of the tendencies, the analytical tendencies from his main coach for a long time, Peter Lecco, and perhaps he's attracted to this type of work because of that?
Well, my assumption would be more so, and again, I'm just speculating, I have no idea, would be more so that, like, for example, Gajewski, who is probably like the main coach, will be in charge of most of the analytical stuff and will also draw on ideas of other people, but he might be kind of the one who is like organizing most of the analytical work. And then if you invite a top player like Vincent, it might be more for playing a lot of training games, or for example, Duda, it might be for playing a lot of training games, and the opening analytical work might be less of a focus for them. Like if I invited a top player, I probably wouldn't be I'd like it would probably be more for practice, not because I want them to work on my openings necessarily. That's but again, that's just speculation. I have no idea how they
I think
formulate it.
Vincent was doing a lot of analytical work, and again, also speculation. But I think they posted the picture from Spain during the match, so I would assume he wasn't doing any like sparring during the match.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking before the match. During the match, yeah, you probably don't want to play too many training games or anything. I mean, maybe on the free day, but like we definitely played games in 2018 during the free days. But I guess you don't have so much time for that, and you don't want to be playing chess constantly. Like you might also want to break.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that could have been remote work. I mean, I would have definitely been interested to see inside how they work. Just also how Ding was working. I would have been interested to see inside. I think like my comment that we made live, which was mostly like joking, was taken a bit harshly. Some people took exception to it. That I said that like Ding, that evidence of his work is not there at all. Obviously, that was kind of a half joking exaggeration. I mean, they did work. That's clear, right? But definitely Ding's work. I would say that like this I don't think is speculation. I think I'm like reasonably certain about this. Ding's like level of organization and work was far less meticulous than Gukesh's. I mean that I think is would be shocking if it weren't the case. Gukesh was obviously very organized, structured, like absolutely classic sort of world championship prep. And Ding looked a bit more haphazard to me, and they definitely worked. It just was more like the interesting thing is that you can get by with both approaches. Like you don't need to. It's probably you probably maximize your chances by working meticulously and organizing very well, but it's not a guarantee of success, and preparing less seriously is not a guarantee of failure. Um, and it's possible also to overwork. So it's not like it's very difficult to find the absolute like happy medium, that you might need. Um, but yeah, I think they took the match seriously, professionally. It looked like probably a good team behind it all. It's how I would also organize a team more or less, find people that you enjoy working with and get them together and try to get to your best shape. Um, that would also be my approach. So that's more or less how it looked like.
Awesome. Fabi, I think we covered pretty much everything, or at least as much as we could have. In this case, it was a great match. It was a good fight. And of course, big congratulations to Gukesh for becoming the 18th, I believe, world champion. You never know how they count it. But yeah, big moment in the world of chess. Obviously, we will get to assimilate all of these changes in the upcoming months, year and a half. You are taking a big step towards qualifying for the next candidates. So, we could
Well,
be
I'm
having
trying.
a lot of these type of discussions in the upcoming future. But yes, great match. Congratulations to Gukesh. World Rapid and Blitz is next. We don't know if we're going to see either of these players in that one, but that's for another episode. We will be having.
I think it's reasonably certain that they're not playing. I mean, I saw
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah.
Gukesh is. I think Ding is
Highly
definitely not playing.
unlikely. Highly unlikely that they're
Gukesh, I
going to
think
play.
also I saw something that he probably won't play, which I
Yes.
understand. I mean, I might feel the same way if I played a long match. Just want to take a break for a bit.
I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, digest this type of successes. I think it's extremely important psychologically to get the benefits, the mental, the psychological benefits of winning such an important championship. Anyway, we have some interesting, hopefully some interesting guests. We're trying to make some guests happen for the next couple of weeks, and of course the World Rapid and Blitz. That one is coming quickly in New York. New York. I don't know, man. The East Coast is getting hit with all of these drone stories. Have you been following?
Not too much. I mean, I saw something.
Hopefully, we're not going to have any surprises in New York. But I've been following. I'm deep into the drone stories. We don't have time to go into that. Maybe next time. But yeah, cool chatting, cool catching up, and I will see you and everybody else, all the viewers, in the next episode. Cheers, guys.